So regardless of however creative you are, and we dancers are creative people, there's only 24 hours in a day. And we still need to do other things. So how do we fit your professional development, your growing in the content area into our 24 hours? Well, realistically, what I've been doing is reading 23 minutes a day. So to be honest, at one part of the year, that 23 minutes looked like 23 minutes. Like, open up your book, sit down, and read for 23 minutes. And right now, not so much. That's not really how it's looking right now. Right now, it's looking more like read 8 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes before I go to bed. And I know I said like this year because I actually started this at the top of 2022. I had finished that read 21 and 21 challenge where you read 21 minutes per day every day. And when 2022 rolled around, I was like, okay, I read 8 books, reading them 21 minutes, reading only 21 minutes per day. Let me see if I can keep this going. So in 2022, January of 2022, I decided, let's take it to 23 minutes and let's see how many books I can read by the end of 2023. So since I started the challenge, challenging myself, since I started the challenge, I have read 10 books. I'm on my 10th book right now. And I'm currently reading Giving Life to Movement, the Sylvester technique. And again, like what I said, life changes. So my 23 minutes changes how it happens from day to day. But I'm still getting my reading in. And I started this vlog, found out it's kind of like a vlog. I started this vlog as my own accountability task, but also a way that I could kind of go back and look at what I read, hear my thoughts, and share it with people. So that's where we at. So it's the end of the day, and I just got my last 15 minutes in. And because this is about me and taking care of me, I wanted to make sure that I followed through with that promise that I made to myself by making a video. Technology is doing its thing right now, so we just going use what we got to get what we want. So this week I read pages, and I'm getting my new little notebook. I read pages 104 through 145 of the book, Giving Life to Movement. And here are my 3 takeaways from my reading. And I'm tired, so I'm going to share these with you, and feel free to comment back in the comments or down there in the comments below as I go through these, to share your ideas, because for me it's about learning, and I also think that I learn best when I'm learning with other people. But takeaway number 1 is reference. So on page 107 of the book, we find these words from the author. This information is provided as a reference tool for those that have experienced the technique to maintain and continue to develop with their bodies, end quote. So Williams explains that this should not be used to replace instruction, right? So I agree with that. I am a dance educator and have been a dance educator for several decades now, and I completely agree with the idea of not just learning from a book. But let's hear let's go a little deeper into what I gained from Williams' words. And it should be used by, or she suggests that anyone instructing this technique should have both the permission and the training to do so. So this comes up in my classes too, right? If you are out doing something, let's make sure that you've done all of the things required to be out executing the thing respectfully, right? And while the author has both the permission and the training, once again, I feel it's important to remember that just because you have access to a reference does not mean that you have the right to teach the content. So let's make sure that we're doing our due diligence in using our references, using multiple references, multiple sources, right? When we research, if we were going to write a paper or book, we would use multiple resources and it would happen over a durational experience, right? So taking that into the studying of our dance and also the instruction of our dance, which takes me to my second takeaway, which is sequences. There is something special about sharing space with people, and we all, or I can't say all because I don't know everybody, but I would say that I remembered this during the pandemic. While it was nice not to have to go into the office, I did miss sharing space with people. There's something special about being in an actual class or learning space, right? With a knowledgeable instructor that you can't get when you by yourself. Like you could take as many classes on YouTube as you want, but there's something about sharing that space with that knowledgeable instructor that you can only get when you're sharing space with that knowledgeable instructor. And it's because their wisdom is poured into you in a different kind of way, because a truly wise and knowledgeable instructor will offer you information and feedback that is specific to your body and your learning process. This week, I'm gonna be honest, my reading was a little harder than I've experienced at some other times, because try as I might, I did not understand the movement sequences that were in this section of the book. I did understand the words, but I didn't feel like I was processing the information in the way that I like to. And that could just be because I'm a visual learner. I'm a visual and a kinesthetic learner. So I did find that when I held the book in one hand and and performed the sequences while I was reading, that I did understand it better. At the same time, the book is a fixed reference. And as Williams states, this technique is dynamic, it's ever growing, it's ever changing. So while the book is a reference that includes sequences, it can offer you that critical feedback that is crucial to learning any content, right? You can only get that from a live, knowledgeable instructor. Takeaway number 3 is grace. At some point this week, I felt bad that I'd only read this many pages. And then I had to remind myself, and this is not the first time that I had to remind myself through this process, and that's okay because of grace. I'm teaching myself to do something different. And sometimes those old things will come up. So I did read the 23 minutes, and I had to remind myself that this decision to read these 23 minutes per day, every day, was actually a present to myself. It's actually a action of self-love. It's actually an investment into myself. It's actually a way of providing myself some consistency in a world that's constantly changing. I literally have moved from one part of the United States to another part, changed jobs, changed homes. Like, a lot of change has gone on. And realistically, the book and reading is the thing that has remained constant in this process. And it's been a way to constantly increase my own knowledge in the area of dance and helping me to be a better instructor, a better educator, a better colleague, a better collaborator, and all those things. And while I'm not an expert on this book, I am creating a space for us to have that dialogue and share our thoughts. So I invite you to join me as I create and hold this space in this vlog. And yeah, take care, spread a good word, stay blessed, and I'll see you again soon.